Hello everyone, welcome to Shuyin channel. Today I would like to share about is why success is actually the best suffering. This is I'm refined from Venerable Piñacarat.
So there's this very specific, almost familiar kind of misery, the one we all sort of bond over. It's the misery of the deficit, the job you didn't get, the person who ghosted you,
the house you couldn't afford.
Exactly, that gap between I want and I have, and we accept that pain is part of the deal. It's the classic struggle.
That's the standard narrative, right?
Yeah.
You lack the thing, so you suffer until you get the thing. It's the engine that drives, pretty much everything.
But today, we're going to flip that narrative completely on its head. We're diving into a source that argues we have the timeline of suffering completely wrong. Okay. We're looking at a transcript from the Walk for Peace 2026, and it's a talk given by a monk who's 90 days deep into a pilgrimage. And his point is that the real suffering, the dangerous kind, the 3 a.m. kind, it doesn't start when you lack something. It starts the moment you get exactly what you wanted.
And he has a name for it. It's this concept of double suffering. And honestly, when you first hear it, it sounds, a little ungrateful.
Right. Come on. I finally won. Why should I feel bad?
Exactly. But the more you sit with it, the more you realize he isn't talking about gratitude at all.
Thank you.
He's describing what feels like a mechanical flaw in how our minds work.
And that's our mission today. We want to take this out of a purely religious context and look at it as like a practical user manual for the brain.
Yeah.
We want to understand why success can often feel just as stressful as failure, and if it's actually possible to care about things, your family, your job, your dog, without that crushing weight of what he calls entanglement.
It's a fascinating distinction. It's the difference between, say, holding a hand and crushing a hand. And it turns out the line between them it's a lot thinner than you'd think.
So let's get into the scenario the monk paints to set this up. Yeah. And I really appreciate that he doesn't use some, abstract mountaintop metaphor. He goes straight for the jugular, the romantic ideal.
He does. He sets the scene of the perfect catch. Yeah. You see someone across a room, they're magnetic, handsome, beautiful. You go through all of it, the dating, the awkward texts, and somehow you win. You marry them, you bring them home.
And in the movies, that's it. Credits roll. Happily ever after. But the monk, he hits pause right there, looks at the audience, and he asks this really uncomfortable question. Is that suffering or not?
And you can actually hear the audience laugh in the source audio. Because it sounds absurd. You just won. How could that possibly be suffering? He doubles down. He says, now you suffer double, triple.
Okay, let's unpack that. Make that make sense for us. How is winning the love of your life double suffering?
Well, it comes down to this fundamental shift in your job description.
Yeah.
Before you had the partner, your job was acquisition.
Right, you're chasing something.
It's a hungry, driving energy. Yeah. But the second you have them, your job switches. Instantly. It goes from acquisition to protection. And protection is just exhausting.
Because now you have something to lose.
Precisely. The monk uses this really visceral metaphor of the hand. He asks the audience, hold your hand out, palm open, relaxed. You can do that for hours. It takes almost no energy.
Sure.
But then he says, imagine you catch something precious, a diamond, or that perfect partner. What's the first thing you do?
You clench, you make a fist, you don't want to drop it.
You make a fist, and he points out the physiology of that. If you squeeze your hand as hard as you can even try it while you're listening, you feel that tension, right? It goes up the wrist, into the forearm.
All the way up to the shoulder, yeah.
It burns energy. It creates tremors.
So double suffering is just living your life with a permanently clenched fist. You suffered the anxiety of trying to get the thing that suffering won, and now you're suffering the chronic stress of being its security guard.
You become a sentry, constantly scanning for threats. Is my partner bored? Is my boss unhappy? The monk says this guard duty completely destroys the joy of the very thing you work so hard for.
You can't enjoy the diamond because you're too busy fighting off imaginary thieves.
Exactly.
But, okay, here's where I want to push back a little. Isn't some of that guard duty, necessary? If I don't protect my relationship, won't I lose it? It feels like he's suggesting we should be careless.
And that's the most common objection. Yeah. But he makes a really clear distinction between what he calls prudent care and neurotic projection. The problem isn't reality. The problem is what he calls the wild animal.
He uses that term specifically, not monkey mind, which you hear all the time.
Yeah, monkey mind sounds almost cute, mischievous. A wild animal is predatory. And he says this animal inside our heads has a very specific defect. When it's idle, when things are actually okay, it doesn't drift toward gratitude, it drifts toward catastrophe.
And he gives an example that I think everyone has felt, the late partner scenario.
Right, so you've got that partner, you've clenched your fist around, it's a Tuesday night, they're 30 minutes late coming home. Reality says, traffic, long meeting.
Let's have your guess.
Simple things. But the wild animal, it starts writing fiction.
Oh, I know this fiction. Why is she late? Who is she talking to? Is he seeing someone else? Is that person better than me?
Or maybe they're in a ditch somewhere.
Yeah.
It just spins this narrative of betrayal or disaster out of thin air. And the crucial point he makes is that this is entirely internal. The partner hasn't done a thing wrong. They're just sitting in traffic. But you are in a full-blown crisis in your own kitchen.
And that's where it stops being just a mental problem. Because when they walk through that door, you don't greet them with love. You greet them with the energy of that hell you just created.
Exactly. You're cold. You're accusatory. You tighten the grip. And this is the tragedy, he points out. By trying to protect the relationship so aggressively, you suffocate it.
You create the very reality you were afraid of.
He says you created a reality where the relationship could not breathe. The bird flies away, not because it wanted to, but because you were crushing it with your own anxiety.
Man, that hits home. We think we're fighting for the relationship, but we're...
The bird sits on your hand only if you do not crush it.
Wow.
If you try to grab the bird, if you try to freeze that moment and possess it, it either flies away or you crush it. The only way to actually enjoy the bird is to fully accept that it is free to leave at any moment.
So paradoxically, accepting that everyone we love is borrowed. It's the only way to really be with them while they're here.
Because you're not paralyzed by the fear of the end. You're not fighting reality. You're just watching the bird, enjoying its colors right now.
Okay, so we need to zoom out because this isn't just a philosophy lecture. We mentioned this transcript comes from the Walk for Peace 2026.
Right. This monk isn't just sitting somewhere. He is literally walking across the country to Washington, D.C. They're on day 90 of this thing.
I mean, that is a physical grind. This is not theoretical for them.
And the goal is to arrive in D.C. around February 11th. They want to gather 10,000 people to just sit in silence and radiate metta, which is loving kindness.
Which, I'll be honest, can sound a bit woo-woo to a cynical ear. We're going to sit in silence and change the world. But based on everything we've just discussed, there's a really rigorous logic to it.
It's perfectly consistent. Think about the wild animal. The monk argued that one wild mind, full of jealousy and fear, can create a literal hell inside a single house.
So the inverse has to be true.
Exactly. If one mind can generate hell, then 10,000 minds trained, calm, with their fist unclenched, projecting peace, can actually change the atmosphere. He says it can soften the world.
It's just scaling the mechanism. War is just double suffering on a global scale. Nations clenching their fists around land or ideology.
And the monk's invitation to all of us isn't to go walk to the White House. It's simpler and maybe harder. He just asks you to check your hands.
Check your hands.
Right now, wherever you are. Are they clenched? Are you holding on tight to a grudge, an expectation, a fear about the future?
Because if you are, you're the one getting tired. You're the one burning all that energy, playing security guard for a reality that hasn't even happened.
The invitation is just to test it. Loosen your grip just 10%. See what happens. Trust that you can love your family without possessing them.
It really reframes the whole idea of devotion. We think devotion means gripping harder. And he's saying true devotion is having the strength to keep your hand open.
It's the ultimate paradox, isn't it? The tighter you cling, the more you suffer, and the more you push it away. The more you let go, the more you are actually able to keep.
So here's the thought I want to leave you with. We spend so much of our lives building these fortresses around the things we love, our relationships, our reputations. We think the walls are keeping us safe.
But maybe the walls just block the light.
What if the ultimate act of love, for a partner, for a pet, even for your own life, is the willingness to hold it so loosely that it is technically free to leave? And that by doing that, you create the only space where it would ever actually want to stay.
That is the deep dive.
Check your hands, everyone. Thanks for listening.
See you next time.
Thank you for listening and watching my video. You will get more benefits from my videos, lesson, and peaceful mind. All listener, Thank you for watching and thank you for listening. Finally, I would like to say success isn't about avoiding the suffering. It's about choosing burden that actually worth carrying. If you are feeling that weight on your own growth right now, know that you aren't doing it wrong. You are just paying the entry fees that next level. In this perspective shift is something for you. The like button so I know to make more deep dive like this. And if you want to know how to manage the pressure without burning out, watch the videos linked to the relatable video next. See you again. Most of the videos I already posted when I Pinyara talking about are to get a peaceful mind. You can watch at the playlist. Thank you for watching and thank you for listening. Thank you so much.